And now more on that story of the cocaine found in the West Wing of the White House. An official close to the investigations, reported by Politico, is saying that the culprit is unlikely to be determined because the drugs were found in a highly visited area, so-called. Former Republican Georgia Congressman Doug Collins joins me now. Congressman, I've been to the West Wing. I'm sure you have. It's not like tour groups are constantly parading in and out of there. You have very tight security getting in there. Don't they keep track of where everybody is and who comes in?
Yes, that's the easiest one of the day right there. I mean, come on. I mean, here's my problem. If Secret Service says they can't figure out at least down to 2 or 3 people, let's just give them that much credit, about who left the cocaine, then Congress, when they get back in session next week, needs to take up a bill immediately to bring the Secret Service forward and say, what do you need to actually protect the most valuable house in this country? You're telling me that all the cameras, all the logbooks, all the security measures are being able to keep you from finding out who was in a room at a certain point in time? It's hard to believe. It's not, I mean, under this administration, it's become more and more just a joke that it just seems like they're just trying to hide stuff and not be transparent with the American people. And it seems like the Secret Service has gotten drug into it.
And when I was there a couple of times, I was looking around, I saw surveillance I mean, it looked as though there wasn't a square inch of that area in the West Wing that didn't have some kind of surveillance on it.
Yeah, and that's what's disturbing about this, because I think everybody, you know, again, if that's not true, which I've been there as well, yes, there is video footage there. There's a lot of people standing around. There's a lot of security standing around. Again, to not see this and to make the American people believe, oh, this is just something we can't figure out. I mean, again, with everything coming out with Hunter Biden, with everything else coming about, you know, the non-transparency, it just doesn't add up. And this is, again, just a degradation of trust from the American people about this administration.
And this is more than just embarrassment. I mean, there are national security concerns. I mean, what if this had been anthrax? We got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, and here's the thing that concerns me. And God forbid that it was something bad like that. But I would almost guarantee you that within an hour, they would have known who it was, when it happened, how it got there. And now you're telling me, since it's cocaine, we can't figure it out? If that is true, then we have a security problem at the White House that needs to be fixed.
I agree. Congressman, stay right there if you can, please. I want you to react to this next story. 2 PGA Tour officials are expected to testify next week as the Senate seeks answers on that controversial merger with LIV and Golf. And professional golf. Fox News chief congressional correspondent Chad Pergram has more on all this. Chad, what are they up to?
David, lawmakers are upset about the Saudis' role in golf. There are concerns about human rights, and lawmakers worry about one group controlling major golf tournaments. Nancy Mace leads the golf caucus.
Certain standards that they abide by when it is a huge merger or a large acquisition in a specific industry, and if they decide they feel like they need to review it because there's a monopoly, then they should have the freedom to be able to do that.
LIV founder Greg Norman will not testify. There are concerns about sports washing the Saudis' human rights record by supporting the new golf organization. However, the top GOP member on the committee holding a hearing on LIV next week is not worried.
If you use oil, you're basically supporting the Saudi regime as well. So that's just the reality of the world. And that oil wealth then gives them all kinds of dollars to invest all over the place. And in general, I guess I'd rather have Saudis invest their dollars in the U.S. rather than into Russia or China.
Johnson says there is not enough money to wash away the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi by the Saudis. 9/11 Families United commissioned a massive billboard in Times Square to protest the deal. The accord caught the families by surprise, especially after the PGA spoke out about LIV Golf.
It was a pit in my stomach. It's a gut punch, and your heart breaks. You know, you feel it internally, that type of betrayal, and that's exactly what it is.
Under the deal, the PGA would still control most of the new organization. The PGA would not comment for this story. David?
All right, Chad, thank you very much. Let's bring back former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins on this. Now, Congressman, usually you have probes when Americans are being harmed or at risk. And because LIV and PGA have figured out, you know, a way to get along with each other and provide more games, more tournaments for people, the question is, who is the aggrieved party here on the basis of this merger. And I mean, obviously, people who had relatives or just people who are concerned about the safety of the nation when the Saudis are involved in anything have a decent concern. But as Chad said, you know, if you buy, or as the senator said, if you buy oil, you're helping the Saudis.
Exactly. Look, I have a lot of respect for my former colleagues in the House and in the Senate, but come on, really, with the appropriations bills having to come up, with the National Defense Authorization Act, with the Farm Bill, everything, this is what you're going to spend time on? Look, my heart goes out to the 9/11 families, and I agree. But if we're going to start down this road, why don't we bring in the Formula One teams? Why don't we bring in the tennis associations? Why don't we bring in the golf, other leagues that go to for people who perform in Saudi Arabia? This is just an issue. Look, I want Saudi Arabia held responsible for their human rights violations. But for Congress to spend time worrying about this deal, really, let's just be frank here. This is about time on camera, talking about how bad they don't like the Saudis. That's all this is. It's a 5-minute clip time for comms directors all over the Hill.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember when the TikTok guy was on a couple of months ago, and you know, there are serious concerns about TikTok, but it was just grandstanding. You had one grandstanding statement after another from Democrats and Republicans. And again, there's a beef against what TikTok is and whether it's a security threat. But we don't need grandstand. That's not what we pay our congressmen to do, right?
Right. Here's my point right here. What are they going to do? Congress can either have hearings and talk about it, or they can put legislation to fix it.
Yes.
There's no legislation to fix this.
Yes.
And that's that takes it out and says all this is a hearing, to have a hearing. If this was a true antitrust concern, as was mentioned earlier, then the FTC and others. But there's no. I mean, come on. So, look, I love them to death. Get to work on the problems that we need working on. Deal with this and let the market deal with it. The market's already dealt with it. That's how we came to this point as well. Saudi is Saudi. If you want to take and completely move everything, then you got to have hearings on most everything we're doing.
Doug Collins, good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.